Here finally, Urvashi.
Yeah. We were supposed to have this session a couple of days back, but it didn't happen. So here we are, and we are not going to do much talking about girls and boys, but we want to ask you to do the talking about girls and boys. So this is going to be a rather different session from most JLF sessions where you get the authors speaking and then people asking questions. It's going to be the other way around. You will speak, we'll ask you the questions.
Right, absolutely. It's going to be much more interactive. Urvashi, as you guys know, I'm sure, is a very well-known feminist. She's been working on issues of gender for almost 30 years, Urvashi?
Yeah, longer.
Okay, longer than that. In fact, she ran a publishing house called Kali for Women, and now she runs something called Zuban, which also sort of invites new writing. Yeah? Okay. And I am actually a theatre facilitator, and we've just, in fact, done a 6-day workshop with young people from schools in Jaipur and NGO institutions from villages across on the theme of gender justice. So we're very practical, hands-on people. The concept notes will come from Urvashi,
Okay.
who could actually, I mean, I want to ask you some questions after this, but yeah, let's start the activity.
Okay, so how many people here would identify themselves as feminists? About half. And how many would not? What about the rest of you? What?
Sitting on the fence.
Sitting on the fence. Okay, so can we have a fence sitter up here, please? One fence sitter, one feminist, preferably a man, and one non-feminist. Volunteers?
Come on, let's have some fun.
You're a fence sitter, come on up. Are you a feminist, sir?
Non-feminist.
Fence sitter or non-feminist?
Non-feminist.
Please come.
Okay.
Freedom of expression is what it's all about. Fence
And you're the
sitter
feminist?
and
Okay, there's a feminist
there's a
there.
feminist?
Come,
Okay, come on up.
No, it's just an activity. It's okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to ask, because we are polite and generous, we feminists, we're going to ask the non-feminists to speak first. Why are you not a feminist? What is it about feminism that you don't want to be?
There is no reason to be non-feminist because I think that every man and a woman can do the same job. They are equally equipped to do everything. So why should there be distinction?
Okay. Fence sitter?
Well, I don't like categorizing people into groups and something on the same lines. So that's why I don't like anything that forces you to look at a group just on the basis of gender. So.
But do you believe what he said?
No, not completely, but no, not really. But yeah, my thing is that I don't like looking at people as different groups, categories, and especially on the basis of gender.
Well, what the gentleman said was that he was not a feminist and he gave a very unique reason for which he should be a feminist, but he said he wasn't, which is that he believes that men and women are capable of doing the same thing, which to me is a very feminist statement. So that's not putting people into categories. So then suppose that, I mean, do you agree with what he's saying?
No, I think it would be too simplistic to say that men and women can do the same things. They all equipped with special skills, and it's wonderful to look at them like that.
Thank you. Feminist?
Okay, sir, you and I, maybe somebody who was as young but a male, I can't do the same things as you because A, I'm not given the opportunities. B, the surroundings have made it impossible for me. I cannot even consider walking outside my house when it's dark. That's not the same for my brother. He can walk wherever, he can do whatever, but I am not allowed to do that, not because I don't want to, but because the surroundings are in a way that I am unable to. And that's why I need feminism.
You want to respond? Okay.
Yeah, there's a difference between may and can. So you said you cannot. I'm saying you may not.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. There's lots of applause at that. Yeah. I think. Okay.
No, I just want to think, I think we should start by a basic definition. Maybe we all see the term feminism. We're looking at it differently through different perspectives. So perhaps that's a base to start with, right? So how would you, maybe you all could start first?
But she doesn't believe in categories, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, here's my definition of feminism, and I'd like to get some responses because I'm. No, let's hold on. Or okay, we'll. Do you want to go back down and then we'll carry on the debate?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We'll get
thank
more
you.
people. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to get some more of you up here or speaking from there. Thank you for
Participating. Yes,
and being so
yes.
brave as to be the first ones up here.
Huh.
You want to say something?
Urvashi, let's start with you defining
Okay,
feminism.
can I do my definition of feminism?
And while you're doing that, has it changed over the years when it first started and now?
Okay. So there's a lot of talk about whether feminism is about equality, whether it's about emancipation, whether it's about capability, whether it's about opportunity. You talked about can and may. Where's our
He's here, right?
feminist speaker gone? No, there. She talked about not having the possibility and opportunity
Yeah.
and so on. So to me, over the years, feminism has become something quite simple. It's about rights. It's about the fact that, to me, every man, woman, and non-man, non-woman, people who lie between those two identities, has the right to a life of dignity and a life of humanity. Simple. Now you might ask, but that's humanist, because that's what humanism is about. True enough, but humanism has never really taken women into account. Humanism has always taken the man as the male as the norm. So it's left out women. So to me, that is feminism. Now, is that something that any of you have an argument with? How many people think that is an acceptable definition? Very few. What about the rest of you?
What was the definition again?
Okay, she didn't listen, see?
Yeah.
The definition is that every man, woman, and people in between
Is
those
entitled
identities
to a life of dignity.
and humanity.
Yeah, okay. That's very broad. I mean, earlier, yes. I mean, the kind of perception people have of feminists is actually the bra burning and the militant and the aggressive feminists who threaten our image of masculinity. So, I mean, did it start with the suffragettes and the thing about vote? Is that how it started initially?
No, look, I think there is a history to feminism and to women's struggles anywhere. The suffragette movement is not our movement in India. It didn't start for us with that. It started for us, if at all you can look at it historically, it started for us with the 19th century social reform movement, which was a movement by Indians against the British, which was a movement intended to prove to the colonial masters that we were capable of ruling ourselves. And it was largely men taking up women's issues. So it was issues of social reform, sati, widow, remarriage, education for women, and so on. Towards the early part of the 20th century, this starts to change, and you get women setting up women's organizations and taking up what are called, within quotes, women's issues. So you get organizations, say, like the All India Women's Conference, the Mahila Atma Raksha Samiti, and many others, who take up women's issues such as education, such as the right to vote, and so on and so forth. And from that grows our national movement against the British, in which women take part in large numbers, and in which, do not forget, the most significant campaigns, such as the campaign for making salt, such as the campaign against liquor, such as the campaign for Swadeshi, are led by women and have like 80% women's participation, if not more than that. And out of that grows the current women's movement that we have today. So yes, the suffragettes is a history that inspires us, but it's not our history. Our history is located very much within our politics. Plus, this whole business, how many people believe that feminists are rabid bra burners? Nobody does?
No one does anymore? Okay.
No one does anymore. Anyway, I always say this, and forgive me if you've heard me say this again, but no sensible woman would burn a bra. It is extremely expensive. 800, 900 rupees, women don't do that. And if they burnt it, they would burn it when it's destroyed and over and done with. Or they would burn it because many women think these days that the constriction of bras might be one of the causes for breast cancer, in which case they might destroy that particular constrictive garment. But I don't think otherwise bra burning is something that you should list.
But you know, Urvashi, thanks for giving us the history. But I want to just come back to the fact that our social conditioning hasn't really changed. We're still very much a patriarchal society, you know. And we keep seeing that it's women who reinforce issues of patriarchy. Though I have to say that, the young people I've been working with, they're much more prone to being open and, being challenged. And it looks like that they're willing to change the stereotypes that we have of the roles. When you talk about role definition, this is what a girl can do, what a boy can do, ought not to do, ought to look like, ought to dress. And then we go into the gray area of sexuality, where you're now becoming a little more open to transgender issues, where you're more open to maybe, you don't laugh at homosexuality anymore. You're willing to accept that, right? Okay, it's an orientation. It's not a disease, though we still have ministers saying that they need to have camps to sort of change them. But I'm wondering about this mindset. How many people here right now still believe in the patriarchal mindset?
I think patriarchy is not so easy to get rid of. It's not to say that we don't have to battle it, but it's a structure that has been around for a long time, and that provides a lot of levels of comfort, because it's the devil you know as opposed to the devil you don't know. So, and of course women are also part of patriarchy, there's no doubt about that. Just as men are part of the oppression of men. We never asked that question, no? For centuries, men have killed men, but we never asked them that question. But when women turn against women, we immediately start saying, oh, women are turning against women, as if it's a terrible thing to do. But look at all the wars and battles of the world. They've been fought by men against men. And we don't ask those guys that. So I don't think we should even go to that question. But certainly, there is a way in which women do support patriarchy, because it gives certain levels of comfort. It's a structure you know, and thinking of breaking that structure down is quite scary. So I don't think we should minimize that fear. But let's get, I think you had a question. Let's get some questions from the audience and take that as we said. Did you want to ask something? Both of you had questions.
Urvashi, talking about patriarchal system and saying that it's very difficult to get rid of, and the women are part of that. I am also, very much interested in these issues, and my take on this has been, from what I have studied for last 5 years, is that it is also lack of awareness, where people are not even realizing that there is a patriarchal system existing. And that is why we are more part of it, being unaware. Because we have started talking about gender very, very recently, if we look at it. And if we move the conversation from sex to gender, from women to gender, I think we should demarcate that. Because sex is something biological we are born with, which cannot be changed.
Absolutely.
But gender is a socio-cultural construct which is imposed on us right from the day, even before the child is born. The pink and blue and the toys that we give our children to play with, and that is how the whole thing gets so deep-seated inside us that it becomes a collective consciousness.
Absolutely.
And having said that, if we move the conversation from men or women to gender and start talking about that, I think the awareness will increase, and with that, the belief systems and mindsets can be challenged, and probably people will be looking at it in a different way. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. You had something to say?
I'm basically a gynecologist and professor gynecologist at SMS. What I wanted to put up is that before, as she said, the gender and the part, whether she is a male or a female, that starts right at the time of conception. Now the girls are coming to us saying, ma'am, is it possible to conceive a male child? Leave alone of feticide, leave alone infanticide. But they are
The
so concerned to get a male child that it is a universal want. Everybody, every lady you come, you talk to her, yes, I need one male child. That is what is happening. I think 4 or 5% people are there who are happy with the birth of a child. I have some
girl child, you
photographs.
mean?
Yeah. I have some photographs with me. Unluckily not now. But what I did once, there were 10 or 15 relatives sitting out there, and I was doing a cesarean C-section, and when we go out, we have to tell them what is the sex of the child. So as soon as I said, it is a female, all the ladies, apne veils aise gira ke, they sat like this. Literally, I'll just face the camera. Yeah, they were sitting like this. One was like this, one was like this, and the other said, oh, kai ho gyo. See, this is how they reacted. And then I said, let it be an experiment, because I am taking workshops and doing workshops all over India. As a professor, I have to be into the teaching. Then there came another group, and again I went out and I took that video. I don't have it now. It would have been very nice for Urvashi to see it. Then I just came out and said it was the first male in the family. I said, ladka hua. So, oh, we are so happy. Arey, mithai mangwao. Like that. It is the mindset, as she said.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Wait, we've got the point. My question to you is, was it only the women who hung their heads, or did the men also hang their heads?
Actually, what happens is the males are not there. They are not allowed. Only the females were there.
Okay, so suppose they had been there. Do you think they would have jumped for joy at the birth of a girl?
They don't show any emotions at that time. But how they react is that if you ask them for a sterilization, that is the permanent method. If you tell them that you have had 2 daughters and both of them are C-sections, the third cesarean is going to be risky. So why don't you go in for a method of sterilization? They will say, no, we want one male issue. So they are the deciding factors. They might not show the emotions, but they are the deciding factors.
Can we've got lots of other people. There was somebody at the back raising her hand. Can the mic go to her? Did you want to say something? Okay, I'm going to come to you after that. And you wanted to say something. Okay. Short, please. Huh?
Hi, I'm obviously a female. I have a younger sister. I work for a MNC in Delhi, and when I introduce myself and my family, the first question they ask me is, don't you have a brother? And I'm like,
who is the they?
People in general.
Okay.
I introduce myself, I work for lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. I have a sister. Don't you have a brother? I blatantly ask them, why should I have a brother? Vansh badhane ke liye. I can do that too. Me and my sister, we both are entitled to my parents' property. I can legally have my child use my last name, and I can do everything what a male can do. There is no issue of vansh over here. So when that question stops coming to me, that is when we don't need feminism.
Great, yeah.
Okay. And then 2 young men here, one right in front and one behind him.
Hi, good afternoon. Well, basically to maybe enhance the quality of this conversation, first of all, I joined the conversation when you were giving your definition of feminism, right? That there should be equal rights to everybody, or maybe the life of dignity for everybody. Now we need to first of all, basically, I guess, set the parameter as to what kind of right and dignity, right? Because what is right for somebody may be wrong for someone else. And also the parameters for the dignity. Like, if it's my dignity to maybe have, say, 5 or 6 servants with me, right? If a girl says that I'm a princess and I need 5 or 6 servants and all of them should be maids, right? So thereby the 3rd generation feminism is coming. Exactly, if you can concur with that, that I should have more rights than you. the comparative analysis.
But I think once for your rights, you're imposing on another's rights, I would question that.
No, but then if we are moving ahead with this definition, that everybody lives with dignity, we first need to exactly clarify as to the minimum standards, maybe set by Rawls as original position, right?
Sorry, as royals.
Okay, fine.
No.
Okay,
if she gets what I'm trying to say.
No, you don't have to accept my definition. You can have your own definition. I have come to my definition after a lot of thought.
Okay.
And one of the discussions in feminism has been about equality.
But then isn't it leaving a lot of loopholes?
Every definition leaves loopholes, but every definition has a purpose and a reason, because otherwise you are functioning in an anarchic thing where you can just do anything. And I don't think that definition of dignity means that you have 5 servants and somebody has 10 servants. Not in my book. Anyway, it's not for a conversation between the two of us. Let's take some other views and carry on. There was somebody at the back. Yes.
Hi, good afternoon.
Could you stand so people can see you? Thanks.
Sorry. So, I want to first start with I probably do not agree with your definition of feminism. And for me, feminism, just the word, can be extremely extremist. I mean, it sounds so extremist. Feminism sounds extremist to me. I do believe in equality, and there was a girl standing behind right there, and I probably agree with exactly what she says and the confidence with which she says.
I think you have to hold it up. They can't hear you clearly. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so I do agree with that definition, but I don't agree with people becoming hypocritic with the definition of feminism. On one hand, I have girls and ladies going out for queues, separate queues for women. There are separate queues for women. There are separate quotas for women. So till we have a mindset like that, till we have a society with a mindset like that, it's not just the men out here, it's not just a patriarchal society, it's there everywhere. It's there from the day you're born, and it's something that is so instilled within us, and not just us, it's everywhere. It's instilled in you. When you talk about feminism, you are propagating that very thought. You are propagating that, you're creating that divide. That is where the divide comes from. You create the divide when you talk of feminism. When you let equality be, you let equality be. You wouldn't, like when there is no, when I go to co-ed school, I do not go and see a girl separately or a boy separately. I mean, there is a fundamental difference which we need to realize. There are going to be fundamental differences between a guy and a girl. We are made differently. God has made us differently. It doesn't mean that there is feminism or we're putting down a girl or we're showing disrespect to them.
Can I just interrupt here? I just want to know, क्या कोई वो बच्चे हैं दिनेश जो गांव से आए थे जिन्होंने नाटक किया हमारे साथ? यहाँ कोई है गिरिराज या कोई है यहाँ पे? I just want to, okay, so what you've spoken about is the opportunity we have here. I've just worked with 30 children some have come from Baran district where the children of bonded labor, etc., who even today, they've said that they have spoken to a girl or a boy openly for the first time in their lives in the village that I'm not saying all villages are like that, I'm saying in their particular village, even to be seen with your brother, you're questioned, right? So they said, and one of the boys said, कि अगर we approach any girl, वो अपनी चप्पल निकाल देती है, meaning we don't want any. So, if we talk about, and I think Urvashi, when we talk about any ism, yes, when there isn't equality, when you're making efforts to get that equality, at least, forget about the fact about there is no equal opportunity there at all. So where is the equality? So change the name, it's fine, it's okay.
Okay, I want to, I'll come to you in a second. I want to tell you a little story, and I'd like to ask some of you for a comment on that story, and you'll see if it links up with what you just said about letting people be and feminism being divisive and so on. The story is, I'm a publisher, and I'm an independent publisher, which means we're always struggling, we don't have a lot of money, we don't have a big company bankrolling us, etc. So about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, group of independent publishers men and women, all heading their own small companies, decided to get together to pool our strengths to see if we could do things together which would strengthen us against the big guns. There were 10 of us, 10 publishing houses. At our first meeting, the 5 women members of this group turned up early. As it happened, not by intention, 5 of the members were men, 5 of the members were women. The 5 women members turned up early, and we were sitting in the office waiting for our male colleagues to come. And then the first one of them arrived. He flung open the door, and he looked in and said, "Oh, no one's come." Now, this is my story. Does anyone have a comment on it? How would you feel if you were in this situation? I'm not going to ask the people who've already spoken. Does anyone see any? Yes, at the back.
This shows very clearly that women are not counted. Because even in Hindi, when somebody comes and says, "Koi ghar mein hai," the wife generally replies, "Nahi, wo shaam ko aayenge." So it is understood. Women don't count.
So this young man who made this wonderful statement about why do women want anything, we are all generous, we'll give it to them, I mean, if you don't even see women, how are you going to start looking at the question of their rights? Now, no response from you because it's not going to be a conversation. Who else had your hand up? I can't see. There, okay.
Oh, ये आप पे यहाँ हो यहाँ पे? Okay, इसके बाद.
Excuse me, ma'am. It's a lot about perspective. Everyone is disgraced. Poor are disgraced. In many terms, men are disgraced. Rich are also disgraced that they also have everything. So feminist people sometimes take too much on themselves. For example, someone at just back said that she's a girl and she has a sister, and people ask her that, why don't she have a brother? I'm a boy, I only have a brother. People too ask me that, why don't I have a sister? I don't take it as they are disgracing me. It's very much about perspective, how you take it. Like they also said that koi ghar pe hai. When an auntie comes, if my dad opens door, he also says, nahi, wo to nahi hai ghar pe. It's about, ab wo milne hi nahi aaye unse, to unse baat kyun karenge?
That's well said. Can I just ask, I've got Bhairo from, एक मिनट, आपके साथ, आप थोड़ा इनका परिचय दे देंगे? कहाँ से आए हैं और background क्या? Bhairo is a Banjara, he's a first generation learner. अब आप बताएं.
मैं उदयपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट से हूँ और डबोक मेरा गांव है, वहाँ से आया हूँ मैं यहाँ. और हमारे कास्ट में ये है कि हम पहली पीढ़ी है जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं, बाकी लड़कियों को तो बिल्कुल भी पढ़ाया नहीं जाता है. और क्योंकि लड़कियों को तो घर से भी बाहर बहुत कम निकाला जाता है, और वहाँ ऐसा होता है कि जो समाज चाहता है वो वैसे नियमों पे चलते हैं. और लड़का और लड़की तो दोनों कहीं गांव में बात करते हो तो ऐसे समझते हैं कि कुछ चक्कर होगा इनका, ये ऐसे मानते हैं. और लड़कियों और लड़कों को मतलब लड़कों को अच्छा रखते हैं और लड़कियों को मतलब अच्छा नहीं रखते, उनको प्रताड़ित किया जाता है, उनको डराया जाता है, धमकाया जाता है. और लड़कियों को मतलब किसी घर में लड़कियां पैदा हो रही हो तो वो लड़कियों को मारना भी चालू कर देते हैं. जबकि हमारे वहाँ गांव में सरपंच था भगवती लाल, उनके बेटे की बहू ने खुद की अपनी बेटी को कुएं में डाल दिया, जिसको 15 दिन से वापस उनको पता चला और उसको रिमांड पे लिया गया, उसके बेटे की बहू को. फिर उसको पता लगा तो फिर उन्होंने उनको बताया, फिर पुलिस में उनको कस्टडी में लिया गया. ये हमारे गांव में ऐसे होता है. और वो हम यहाँ से सीख के जा रहे हैं और हमारे गांव में हम और उनको बताएंगे, कुछ भी हमारे जो मुखिया होते हैं गांव के उनको बताएंगे कि हम ऐसे ऐसे होना चाहिए, नियम हो, कानून लड़कियों को पढ़ाना चाहिए. और ये थैंक यू.
हाँ, you want to translate it? Does anyone need a translation of that? I think you've understood that. No, they've understood. Okay. Okay, so he was actually where? Who? Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. Well, actually, he was talking about the conditions in his village where the girls have been suppressed, and at times they also even sort of kill the girl child. In fact, he spoke about the Mukhya, who's the headman of the village, who drowned his own daughter in a well. and the body was discovered 15 days later. So there's a lot of oppression and discrimination that even today goes on in some of the, I wouldn't say it's all of rural India. There are changes happening quite rapidly. But he's come from a place where they are actually, in fact, none of his parents, even the boys haven't gone through any education earlier. They are like the first generation of boys studying also. Yeah, sorry.
I think somebody has a hand up there. Yeah, there are two hands up there at the back.
I would just like to say that while I'm hearing all the males, basically what people are not understanding, the males, is that patriarchy is as violent to them as it is to females. Yes. So I think if males can understand that patriarchy is violent to males also, and I think feminists should work more towards that also. I think that there's a barrier that's happening between the males and females courtesy this feminism. I mean, feminism is perhaps the only ism I solely believe in, and I'm proud to call myself a feminist. But I think what's happening, what's lacking perhaps is that males are not realizing that patriarchy is very violent. The structure itself is very violent. It's restricting them from realizing their inner self. So I think if education, feminism education can work on that, I think it would help a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm coming to you this. Please speak and then give it to the, after you, the gentleman in that.
Hi ma'am and hello everyone over here. I would like to say just one thing, that everyone in the conversation is probably the females are wanted to, just address to males that yes, feminine should be recognized, and males are the ones who want females to, recognize their masculines. I would say females are the only one who can actually believe in themselves, and they are the ones they will understood that yes, we are the females and we have the confidence enough to lead the world. That day, I would say the feminism will be going to define, because it's about the women itself. I'm the youngest in the family, and probably I could say I have been allowed to do anything. I would like to lead my career. I'm living outside from my home city. My father was I would say the proud father of 2 daughters, and my brother is very happy to have the one as the elder and one as the youngest. Why? Because we two people believe that yes, we are the females of the family and we have all the right to support and lead our life. So I would say every female and every girl should feel that yes, we have enough confidence living our life. Does not show it to anyone, because the day you will believe yourself, everyone is gonna believe you.
Okay, thank you. Can you pass it, the mic over there? Yeah.
Good noon, ma'am. I just want to tell you something that basically I am a French teacher and I'm running an institute here. And
can you hold the mic closer?
Yes, ma'am. And I'm basically from Chennai, okay? So if I speak in Hindi, if you find any mistake, just let it go. So what I want to ask you is the masculine and feminism. So it's actually I find in Hindi, because not in Tamil, which is my mother tongue, because when people say that मेरा phone charge हो रहा है और बारिश बरस रही है, so phone charge हो रहा है, हो रही क्यों नहीं है? And बारिश बरस रही है, बरस रहा क्यों नहीं है? It means that the rain is feminine, right? It means that typically when we come to the when I asked to some teachers, the PhD teachers in Rajasthan University, they said that it's the ancestral following. We follow our ancestors basically. And when I ask them the answer for this, their vocabulary is limited to we don't know. So what does it mean? And basically when it comes to the village part, okay? So whenever I saw some of my villagers in Tamil Nadu and in Kerala, then I have traveled to Dubai. So all over I have been traveling for, even in French, masculine and feminism. It means that je vais dans la maison. It means that I'm going to my home. La maison. It means the house is male. La. Okay? I'm wearing the dress. La robe. La means girl and le means the dress.
Okay,
what does it mean?
So that's about language.
No,
right?
it's about language, and basically what I want to ask you that the education thing, ma'am. Because in India, we found that basically too many villages where women are not allowed to speak against her husband, basically, because her answer is limited to yes or no. The question is arised by, so answer must be yes or no. Okay, basically she cannot.
Okay, so
talk.
can you say briefly what you want, because there's many other people wanting to
Yes,
speak.
ma'am. So I want to ask that the education in the village can bring the change about the rights that can a women get.
Okay. Okay, I want to just pull out some things that all of you have been saying before we move to other people. So one is this business about how do you define feminism? And obviously for different people it has different definitions, and it also has different meanings, which is absolutely fine, because it may be a meaning that you subscribe to, you believe in, or something that you don't believe in. One of the things that seems to have come up in what all of you have said is the structure of something like patriarchy, which is a structure which it has been pointed out, is a violent structure and can be violent towards both men and women. But because of its very nature is largely more violent towards women, more violent towards women than it is towards men. So that is one thing that has come up. The other thing that has come up is no matter how violent the structure, where you're placed, it is important to have a belief in yourself and in your abilities and your capabilities, and to resist the structure in whatever way you can. And if you can do that, you might actually achieve some form of self-belief, self-respect, and so on and so forth. Another thing that has come up is education. Is education important for dealing with the discrimination that socially exists between men and women in our society? And clearly it is. So that's another point. And all of these, I think, in the discussion on gender, on feminism, on men, women, and the other identities that lie in between, all of these things are important. It's not one thing or the other. And if I call myself a feminist, I do it because that's what I feel comfortable with. But that doesn't mean that I expect everybody else to call themselves feminists or subscribe to that thing. So it's really what you feel comfortable with. Okay, we're going to take some questions from this side because we've been ignoring this side. Some questions and comments. Can you keep them short, please? And we'll come to you after this.
So I understand that there are different categories within feminism. So feminism as a whole is called the gender equality movement. So when you want to talk about things like that, there's radical feminism, which you could count the bra burning and all that. And there's also liberal feminism. So, but the liberal feminists kind of think that, yeah, whatever we've done is enough. But it's not. There's never going to be enough. So I also wanted to just say that when you talk about categorizing, it's not going to be, yeah, we're saying men have to convert to this stereotype as well. Like, if you look at it like in the media, men are always portrayed as hot with six packs and all those kind of things. But I mean, I understand if you're portrayed as weak, then, you know, it's not okay. But they don't have the same repercussions as women do in any sort of way. And as well as that, there's also
you forgotten?
Oh yeah, there's also convenient. Well, my teacher has told me that she says she's a convenient feminist, and I think so too. Because if a man wants to open that door for me, he's doing it to be nice. I'm not going to stop him. If you want to pay for that date that we're on, go ahead. But I will offer to pay to, I don't think it's your right to pay for me. But if you want to do it, chivalry shouldn't have to be is called against feminism in any sort of way. It's just being nice.
But if he allowed you to pay the entire tab, would you be offended?
No.
You'll just save a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay. It's convenient feminism.
Can we have the gentleman in the red trousers?
Hi everyone. It was beautiful to grow up with the 5 sisters. And you know, I was the youngest. I always been ignored by my parents because all my sisters were painfully smart. and they just like, whatever parents bring, they're just like first for the sister. So I start to feel jealous with them. And then, like growing up, slowly, I found that, wow, I am growing up with so beautiful environment because they take care of me so well and, like always there for me when I need. But then, like when I start to understand, then I found that they are facing so many problems with harassment and lots of different problems. Then I decide to join this NGO. Like, this is my own NGO. That's called Hands With You. So for that, I always travel and, with these stickers and things that, like how beautiful women are. And I don't know much about this topic, but I think that the women are the most beautiful people on the planet. And I love all the women. Cheers.
Okay, I don't think this is a place to declare your love for all women, even though it's nice you've said it. There was somebody else over there, right? Was there someone else we could see? No. Ah, yeah, that gentleman.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to ask you, ma'am, do you not feel that there are men who are chivalrous enough just to do something politely or gently, but they are being hindered by certain feminazis? You know the term feminazis, don't open the door, I can do it for myself. So there are men, like I myself support the UN He for She campaign. I myself am proud to call myself a feminist, but this feeling that women have, certain women have, of feminazism is hindering us to stand beside them. Yeah.
How many feminazis are there in this audience? Nobody? There's one at the back. Are you a feminazi? Do you want to take the mic and just...
I'm a feminist, just a basic, plain old feminist, in that I believe in equal rights. I have a daughter, 2 sons, all 3 of them are feminists too. I think if somebody ascribes the term feminazi to me, I'm not going to let that bother me. It doesn't mean that that's the term I offer. I'm just a feminist. I think the term feminazi is being used to skew and frame the discussion. If, as a boy, you want to open the door for a girl and she asserts that she doesn't need it open, it doesn't make her a feminazi. It can make you a polite feminist who says, okay, sorry about that, and offer to help the next person. That's helpful. If someone doesn't want the door opened for them, it doesn't stop you from opening it for someone who does. Nor does it make the person who wants the door not open for them a feminazi. But yeah, I'm a feminazi if we can use that as a term of convenience.
Urvashi, I mean, this is okay. I was just saying, we have about 15 minutes left.
Got 15 minutes left. Okay,
and
we'll take
we've been
one
a bit,
more.
light-hearted, but I want to actually get towards the thing about violence.
Okay.
Violence towards
There's
women.
one
Okay.
comment. Can we take that and then we move on?
Okay, one thing, he said that he being a guy opening a door for a girl, he calls the girl feminazi if the girl does not want him to open the door. But I believe that if he is a real feminist, he should open the door for anyone. If there's anyone on the door, regardless of it being a girl or a guy, if he's opening the door, that is manners, that is chivalry. But if you're opening the door for a girl just because it's a girl, I think that is sexist.
I agree, absolutely.
And I actually have a question. Normally in Indian, in our law, there are reservations for girls, even in the buses and trains. The seats are reserved for girls. It's not that we cannot stand for a very long time. We can stand. But I believe that it's not equality. I understand that I am being given privileges here, but if we actually believe in equality, no such privileges should be given on the basis of the sex or the gender. These kind of things should be given on the basis of who needs it more. Say if it's a pregnant woman or if it's an elderly person, then yes, you can offer the seat. Or you can have reservations based on whether the person is, if it's an intelligent person and does not have a lot of money to spend, then yes, the reservation should be granted, not based on the gender. And even in our law, it's there. All the reservations are there, everything is there. So I kind of believe that Indian law itself is sexist.
Okay. Okay, great, thanks. You wanted to say something, Puneeta.
No, I agree with her. No, I just want to say that, the whole discussion really about the discrimination, and actually, I mean, we've been talking at a level where it's fun and we're sort of, a lot of the sexist remarks also. But to get down to that basic thing of oppression and fear, I live in Delhi, and the circumstances of the last few years, yes, a girl will not walk alone on the road. I mean, after dark. I was in Bombay some months ago, and I remember this group that we had gone with. They said, it's so lovely, it's 10 o'clock at night, and, girls are just walking and going to shops and buying stuff, just two together, maybe a girl alone, and she's all right. And it's not as if to say Bombay is completely safe, but I'm saying that coming from Delhi now, all your earlier sense of being free and being, equal, that has changed. You do walk with looking over your shoulder, and if you hear about someone being out alone after dark, something happens, people say, she asked for it, she should have known what the environment is like. And that's dumb. We're in 2015. So what's going wrong? Are we kind of going backward? Are we regressing?
See, there's lots of questions. We can't take them all, but just a few points. Again, I'm not going to say this is what it should be, or because one doesn't have the right to do that, but just some of the points that have actually come up in the things that you have raised. I think first, one of the things that people who call themselves feminists have been talking about for the longest time is to recognize the nature of privilege and to recognize the nature of power. If you are in power, whether it is the power of gender, which operates between men and women, whether it's the power of, it can be the power of language. Many of us who are English speaking inhabit a world in which we have much more access and a world which is much closer to power than those people in India who speak Indian languages, especially in the world of literature, which you see around in JLF, or whether it is regional power, so north and south, there is a divide between north and south. There's a divide between the center and the periphery. If you come from Delhi, you are much more privileged than, say, if you come from Meghalaya, or you come from Assam, or you come from Kashmir. So there is a way in which privilege and power operate, which create inegalitarian relationships in society. And the whole point of the battles that we are all fighting at all times is to change the nature of those inegalitarian relationships. The power of caste, for example. So, we can all sitting here talk happily about, why do girls do this and why do girls do that, and we are all nice men and we are opening up the spaces for them, and it's a difference between can and may, but it's not actually that. You're not living in a level playing field where everybody has the same kind of opportunity and everybody has the same kind of privilege and everybody has the same kind of wealth. We don't have all of that. Feminism, or the struggle for women's rights, is part of that struggle, and it has to be recognized as that, as something that is trying to create a better society and not as something that's setting up men against women, which is how we tend to see it, and which is how we tend to, for example, think of women who are fighting that battle as terrible people who are trying to destroy society. I want to put a question to all of you and see a show of hands. First of all, how many of you are aware of the gang rape that happened in Delhi in December 2012? Okay, pretty much all of you. How many of you participated in the protests? Quite a few of you. Why did you participate in the protests? because those protests had both men and women participating, and that was the important thing about those. Why did some of you participate? What did you feel was what made you angry and protest about that particular situation?
And there were men and women both at the protests. There was eve teasing and butt slapping at the protests as well. So yeah, just saying.
Okay, thank you. So remember the point that was raised earlier about patriarchy being violent to both men and women? So this particular incident showed that, because it wasn't only the woman who was attacked, it was also the man who was attacked. And it was about gender discrimination, the incident. She was raped. It was about violence in society. It was about safety of our streets, and a whole host of other things that were part of that particular incident. I want to put another question to you. Suppose that the girl had been a sex worker coming out of a bar at midnight. How many of you would have gone out to protest for her rights? Quite a few people. Okay. No, there are some guys. There are some guys who did raise their hands. And why would you have done that? Do you think there's a difference? You want to say a word? Yeah, okay. In the white.
It's not about whether she was a sex worker or not. There's just one word that comes into this situation that should be considered, and that's consent. So it doesn't matter if it's a sex worker. If she doesn't want to do it, it's rape. If you have to force it, it's rape.
So we're back to the... Thank you for that. So we're back to the crucial issue that we started out with, which is an issue of rights. It is an issue of absolutely, you cannot violate somebody's right to her own body, to his own body. And if you do that, you are committing violence against that person, and you are... What is this going on? Patakas for what reason?
Basant Panchami.
Oh, Basant Panchami. We're celebrating something.
Okay, yeah.
Puneeta, you want to...
No, and we're running out of time. I mean, but I'm just saying in terms of girls and boys, it's also, we have missed the third gender, you know, which is now, I mean, we're aware of it when we have the gay pride parade, you know, and then we club it all together, the LGBT community. And then, so everyone's out with their feathers, etc. You know, one thing I've always felt that why is it important, but I mean, I'm also answering my own question, that when you are from, you know, when an alternate sexuality position, why do you need to wear it on your forehead? Because most people I've known, maybe it's just being oppressed so much that you need to, you know, because I've met people who've sort of been overtly stating their sexuality, where you do not find that so much in a heterosexual, you know. I mean, if someone will not state their sexual, I know I'm sort of going round and round in circles, saying the same thing, answering, contradicting myself, you know. But I'm saying that a lot in terms of the people the young people I've also been working with, there is that stereotype, exactly like the stereotype of feminism, you know. So when you're talking about, you know, the third gender, why can it not be accepted as a different orientation in a more relaxed, easy flow? Perhaps it's just early beginnings. I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm just questioning this.
No, I think it's actually part of the same sort of thing, the same question that might be asked about why do you need to call yourself a feminist? Because if you believe that that political position is an enabling position and you want to own it, and it's important for you to fight the battles you fight from that position, you claim that label. But everybody does not have to claim it. And I think that it becomes, you know, you don't have to state yourself when you are the norm.
Right.
So,
right,
but
you're
when
right,
you are
yes.
the minority or when you are pitted against the norm, then one of the things is you have to state yourself. And I think that's really important to do. So I would say that that's my answer to your question.
Right. No, thank you. Okay. But maybe we could, I don't know, I mean, because I know in the play when we're doing it, when we brought up this thing of third gender and the hijra thing, I mean, all the kids first started laughing and smirking and, you know, even when we perform. And interestingly enough, I mean, the young people I've worked with, they've said that they have gone through a huge sensitization process. And they would think twice before they pointed fingers at anyone and laughed at the fact that they were just different. Today they said, we realize that people different from us. You know, but that's a very small group that one has worked with. You know, I'm just saying that in our education system, all of these things need to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to close in a minute, so all we've done is raised a few questions and really not addressed them in any very satisfactory way. But I would say that's another very important question that you've just raised, which is the recognition of the nature of difference. So recognizing that our society is made up of people who are different in many ways and accepting that difference.
Absolutely.
You know? And I want to leave you with some, how much time do we have? We're closing now, no?
Yeah, we have about a minute.
1 minute, okay. So 2 or 3 questions you might like to think of. I'm going to put some names in front of you and just think in your head, those of you who come especially from North India, whether those names say something male or female to you, just as an exercise. So here they are, Pankaj, Surinder, Harjeet, Himmat, Gurjeet. Anything else? Satwinder. Okay, think of those names, sorry, just think of those names. Also, think of, especially the girls, next time you go out with your boyfriend, partner, husband, whatever, just notice who holds whose hand. It's an interesting exercise. It's something we never actually think. But think about it and see and ask yourself why. And see if you come up with a satisfactory answer, or an answer that pleases you, or an answer that raises more questions for you. Just an exercise about the nature of gender. Do you want to add anything?
No, thank you.